Hey guys, it's Tracy, and one thing you may not know about me is I absolutely love all things that have to do with the lost media. The idea that something so sought after and that was once so beloved can just vanish without a trace is something that really fascinates me. And since this channel is devoted to all things furry related, I thought, hey, why not discuss 5 furry-related pieces of lost or canceled media? So, that's what we're going to do today, and I hope you enjoy the video.
Number 5 is fairly well known, but some of you may not be aware that in the early 2010s, a now scrapped version of Zootopia was in production before it became the film that we all know and love. Have you ever wondered why early promotional material focused so heavily on Nick rather than the lead character Judy? This is because early drafts of the film portrayed a far different story than the one that hit the big screen. This version of the film was about a world where all predators are forced to wear tame collars that would administer a shock whenever a predator would get aggressive. The film focused on the sly fox Nick opening an amusement park called Wild Times, just for predators. The only place in Zootopia where predators could have their collars removed. Suffice to say, this version of the film had a much darker tone than the final product. When asked why the film was rewritten, director Byron Howard had this to say: "We were presenting a world that was very dystopian. It didn't feel like a place where we wanted to be. We don't want to create worlds that we want our characters not to live in." When the script was rewritten to fit the studio's vision, many changes had to be made. These included changing the main character to Judy, the determined bunny, giving Nick's sidekick Finnick a smaller role as a comic relief character, and making the two central characters frenemies rather than the protagonist and the antagonist. While the Wild Time script has never been released in full, storyboard frames and concept art from the original draft can be seen on the home media release and the book The Art of Zootopia. Remnants of the original draft can also be seen in promotional material. Number 4. Clay Martin Croker is an established animator who made a name for himself working on numerous programs for Adult Swim, including Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Space Ghost Coast to Coast. On September 17, 2016, he unfortunately passed away from unknown causes, though it's theorized that he got a bad case of food poisoning from eating a bad piece of sushi earlier that day. Croker is rumored to have kept a large amount of unreleased artwork in a folder at the animation studio Design FX, dubbed the Forbidden File. The reason for this name is because most, if not all, of the artwork in this folder is pornographic in nature. The most infamous of these works is a piece of Tom and Jerry scat fetish porn. While the contents of the Forbidden File are not confirmed to exist, 2 of Croker's former co-workers, Robert W. Pope and Robert Minsk, insist that it's real. In a Facebook comment thread, Minsk states that none of that art could be posted. Pope adds, "Those are funny beyond compare and totally inappropriate." As of now, none of the art in Croker's Forbidden File has surfaced. The number 3 spot goes to the English dub of the anime Kaiketsu Zurori, or Incredible Zurori. For those who don't know, Kaiketsu Zurori is a Japanese anime based on a series of books about an anthropomorphic fox named Zurori. The series is primarily aimed towards children, but still retains a respectable audience of teenagers and adults. Despite the popularity of the series, especially among furries, the English dub only ever aired on the Filipino version of Cartoon Network. While the entire series is available in Japanese with fan-provided subtitles in English and Spanish, all that remains of the English dub is a short promo clip and a very low-quality recording of part of the movie The Quest for the Mysterious Treasure that was simply recorded off a TV screen, likely with a low-quality handheld camcorder. Many fans of the original claim that the English dub is inferior to the Japanese counterpart, yet still wish to have access to this dub. Due to the limited release and the fact that many of the fans of the series are children who would not have thought to record any footage, it is unlikely that there is any high-quality footage of the series out there. Number 2. One of the earliest examples of furry media on the internet, as well as one of the first web shows in general, is the Fun Day Paw Pet Show. Running for 18 years before taking a 1-year hiatus and coming back in 2018, it is quite possibly the longest-running web series of all time. Despite the series starting up in 1999, when the internet was still in its infancy, nearly the entire series has been preserved. There is one episode, however, that has managed to slip through the cracks. On September 11th, 2001, following the events of the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, the cast of the show decided to come together and make an episode of the show to address the events that took place earlier that day. Unfortunately, due to the shock of the event, none of the members of the show remembered to record the episode, so it was never made available for download. The only way someone could have seen the show was if they were tuned in during the live broadcast. It is not impossible for the video to be forever lost, but the odds that it is preserved are very unlikely. Every episode of the Fun Day Paw Pet Show, aside from this one, were made available for download on the show's website, so it's unlikely that anyone had the foresight to record it while it was live. There is a possibility that one of the viewers took a screen recording of the video, but if this is the case, it hasn't been uploaded publicly. Unlike the rough draft of Zootopia and the English dub of Kaiketsu Zorori, this piece of media is completely lost. No clips or even screenshots have surfaced, and after 19 years of nobody coming forward with any evidence of it, it's unlikely that the 9/11 episode of the Fun Day Paw Pet Show will ever be seen again. Number 1. The last entry on this list is quite different, as this is the only entry on this list to be from the 20th century rather than the 21st century. With media from the current millennium, it's a possibility that it will turn up eventually. The 3 categories of media that are most subject to being lost are ancient literature from before the Common Era, Web 1.0 of the 1990s, and films from the Silent Era. This is due in large part to films from this era having been printed on material called silver nitrate, which is susceptible to deterioration, and it is estimated that 80% of all films from the silent era are lost. Among these films is 1913's The Werewolf. Surprisingly, many of the early funny animal cartoons, such as 1928's Plain Crazy, 1919's Feline Follies, and even 1914's Gertie the Dinosaur are still archived, but the same can't be said for The Werewolf. As the title would suggest, this is the first film about a werewolf. This was likely not only the first film to portray anthropomorphic animal characters in a serious light, but is possibly the first film to ever be made about an anthropomorphic animal. Unfortunately, not much is known about this film. We do know it was directed by Henry McRae in the United States and was distributed by Universal Studios, and it was the first film in the Universal Monsters series. It predates classic monster movies like King Kong, Frankenstein, Dracula, and Nosferatu. The movie is based on a Navajo legend about a girl who comes back to life after 100 years to find the ghost of her boyfriend's killer. To do this, she turns herself into a wolf. Every copy of The Werewolf was unfortunately destroyed in a fire, meaning this is the one entry on this list that we have no chance of finding.
Thank you all so much for watching my video on 5 lost or canceled pieces of furry media. I know there are a lot of examples that I left out, but I had a lot of fun writing and making this video. So if you want me to do a second part, I would be happy to make one, as long as you're up to watch it. If you want to see more videos like this, full of Tasmanian tiger hijinks, make sure to hit subscribe and ring the notification bell, because I try to make a new video about once every week. Until next time, this is Tracy. Hi, Paw.